These weekend commitments are killing me. Ryan Snyder here with us. Not necessarily breaking news when it's 24 hours after the fact, but that doesn't matter. We're here to give you the information about Chaz Coleman committing to the Nittany Lions this weekend. It was a big weekend for Penn State football, the second commit, but we're going to talk about just Coleman here on this video. For more information, we'll be talking about Leighton Von Brandt on the BWI Live show Tuesday morning. So if you're watching this on replay, you can go watch that. This is all out of order, Ryan. I mentioned this last week. Anytime that these things happen and we don't get to them when they're supposed to happen, it drives me crazy. But the good news is most people don't care about that. They want to know about the new commit. So fill everybody in. Who is Chaz Coleman?
We weren't doing this video at 10 o'clock on Sunday night anyway, let's be honest.
No.
We love you guys, but I was done. Of course, yes, Chaz Coleman. You want to talk about a fun pickup? This is a fun pickup. And we're talking about a pretty raw player. Excuse me real quick. 6'4.5". 220 out of Warren G. Harding in Warren, Ohio. Man, so Chaz parsed on the radar. I don't know. It feels like about a month ago when Penn State offered. And quiet guy, been kind of trying to drill down and learn more information. And fortunately, we've been able to do that, catching up with his coach here. I think the big thing to know is Chaz Coleman has never really played defense until this year. And boy, I don't know why that was not the case earlier. Warren Harding got a new coach this year, and just catching up with Coach Richardson not that long ago, he said the same thing. He's like, I watched this guy's basketball film, and I'm like, how has this guy never played defensive end in his life? Comes out, plays defensive end this year, and boy, he had 9 forced fumbles. All you got to go ahead, put that basketball film on, because this is really fun to watch. But just rattling off some stats. I mean, 9 forced fumbles on the year, 3 interceptions, just a ton of really interesting things. 16 tackles for loss, 68 tackles total. Just a freakish athletic player. I've been trying to get broad jump numbers, 40s. He's never really been tested. I don't think he's really gone to any Under Armour camps or anything like that. But man, just you watch his hops here. I would love to know what his vertical is, or could he get an 11-foot broad? Because there are some freakishly athletic, moves here on the basketball court.
It looks like that last part of there looked like he broke the backboard.
Yeah, so
that's pretty impressive.
On 3 moved him into the on 300. Charles Power, of course, our scouting staff, moved him to the on 300 just about a month ago, up to number 213. And I always think it's interesting because Charles and them, they do a really good job at getting verified information, and that's really important as far as measurables, testing, all that stuff. So the fact that they moved him into the on 300 without that information, I think that speaks very highly of the kind of athlete that we're seeing on film here. And I think Penn State saw that as well. He picked up his first offer from Ole Miss actually to play tight end. That was only a handful of months ago, and really has taken off since then. We were speaking with a source earlier today too about how Chaz came on campus for his official visit Saturday morning, so he didn't leave until Monday. And obviously his commitment comes out Sunday night. Well, we were told that a bunch of schools were contacting him late Sunday night after that commitment came out to kind of see if he would be interested in taking a visit here or there. But seems pretty firm. But Penn State's really excited about this one. Raw player, got to learn how to use his hands. There's a lot of things that he has to grow into as far as an edge rusher. But again, just watch the basketball film. Go watch his highlights. He just put edge rusher highlights up, I believe, last night too. So to go check that out on his huddle page, because boy, his burst, those first couple of steps, the way he's able to close, man, there's some things here that should really excite Penn State fans, I think.
Yeah, and I wanted to put this up here because I do, we put up the rankings graphic, which is kind of a distilled version of what happens here on the On3 rankings page for each individual player. So I just wanted to give some context, because there's always like the conversation of, he's a 3-star defensive end late in the process. What is Penn State doing? Of course they missed Unzi here, Mathis, blah, 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 blah. Listen to what Ryan said and listen to what we're saying here. This dude is legit. So part of this ranking is the industry ranking takes into account all of the different facets. Rivals doesn't have him ranked. Like, they just gave him a basic 3-star rating, 247. They have him as a 3-star, but both ESPN and On3 have him as a in the top 200, basically, in the class of 2025. So a late riser with a split decision so far. Once we get closer to the National Signing Day and everyone kind of puts the finishing touches on this class, even if they didn't, Ryan, does it matter? Like, with the way he plays and his physical potential, if he never makes up those ranking kind of disparities, does that matter to you in the grand scheme of things?
It matters to fans, right? They right. Always want to see as many 4-stars, and obviously Penn State moving up in the team rankings, all that stuff. But no, what you need to know here is unless you're flipping top prospects that they've been after for a long time, right? The Brandon Finneys of the world, the Andrew Olishas of the world. This is what you want in a late riser, senior, up and coming player who just kind of bursts on the scene. And like, I can't stress enough, like, this is a guy who did not play any of the position he's going to play in college until like 3 months ago. So this is what you want to see. These are the kind of freaky athletic players who, something clicks late in the year, gets an opportunity late in his high school career, and really bursts onto the scene. I mean, again, he caused 9 fumbles, had 3 interceptions. I mean, 12 turnovers. That we don't see that from defensive ends all that often. So, like I said, a ton of tackles for loss, 68 total tackles too. Oh, by the way, he was the quarterback for his team. So we're talking, we're talking about a heck of an athlete here. So I just know that this was one that, man, Penn State was really excited about, that they got the official visit locked in. And they seem incredibly excited about getting this commitment over the line. Again, I don't think he's going to be a guy who comes in and plays right away. There's a lot that he still has to learn when it comes to being an edge rusher. But man, this is the kind of player that Deion Barnes wants to learn and mold and to work with, because the athleticism is freaky.
Yeah, the way he can play in space, plays quarterback. You saw that spin move there. The basketball comes through in a big way for Chaz Coleman. And defensive end is a freak's position. So if you don't get a guy that's a freak in the athletic sense, from the size, height, weight, speed, then you want to get a guy that maybe has most of those traits. And when you look at Chaz Coleman, I'm assuming, based on the fact that they accepted the commitment and he committed to the program, that the length and all those things they're comfortable with, because he looks like the guys they've been recruiting, except, from an athletic standpoint, of the mobility, the movement skills, the burst, except for the fact that he's going to be 255. He's going to be big by the time he's fully developed. And the fact that he's about 225 right now and looks like really well built. This is a player I understand from a traits perspective. And you know how much I'm all about positional skills. But if you can go get the quarterback and you have some of those innate abilities to spin and to get to get yourself off blocks, this could be a guy that at some point in 2025, if he enrolls early, does have a chance to see the field from a physical perspective. I think maybe in the same way that we talked about Peter Gonzalez before he got hurt, he's likely going to come in with enough physical skills, again, if he enrolls early, in order to at least be in the conversation for, does this guy play as a freshman? And I'm saying that knowing he's not ready to play. That's how excited I am about the physical tools here and the opportunity that they have. So, big fan of Chaz Coleman on this end.
Yep. And the big thing with official visits too, I mean, he never visited Penn State before this weekend. So getting verified info is always important, right? He was listed coming in this weekend at 6'5", 205. He's a little bit under 6'5". I mean, it's like 6'4.5". The reach is all there. Plenty fine on that end. And, again, up plus 220. So he's a little bit bigger than, than what we had him listed at. So that's all exciting for Penn State. And, family really enjoyed it. Everything stacked up. And Penn State's really happy to get this over the line, because Kentucky was kind of that school people had circled. We knew other schools were going to come in late. Florida State just offered recently. Just go look at his Twitter profile. I mean, he is stacked up, I don't know, about 10 or so offers in the last couple of weeks. So this was a guy who was really on the rise. Maybe I don't know if you can pinpoint a player who has jumped these rankings and jumped onto the scene as much as any senior riser in the country, as much as Chad Coleman. That's not coming from me. That was from Charles Power a couple of weeks ago when they did the On 300. So this is the marquee player as far as, again, what you want from a senior riser, a player who really bursts on the scene late, plays a new position, whatever it may be, new coaching staff being used in different ways. This is what you want to find, and Penn State's able to get it.
So Penn State already has, from the class of 2025, they have Max Granville on the roster, but I wanted to go through the defensive players here. Randy Adarica on the inside, Jaden Woods, Cortez Harris as edge rushers, and Yaman Kavaju, that we assume is going to be a defensive tackle for Penn State, but he is listed as an edge rusher. So now that they have this final player in the class, what do you think of the class of, I'm assuming, by the way, I apologize, that this is the final player. I understand they could probably add another defensive tackle, maybe, but what do you think of this particular class as it stacks up with now having Coleman on the roster?
Yeah, I mean, look, Kavaju's had a great year. Cortez Harris, I'm trying to learn a little bit more about his season. It's been kind of hard to dig up details, but we know Jaden Woods brings a ton of athleticism, right? I mean, that's Jaden Woods was kind of, we had Max Granville kind of circled as, the freak year of the D lineman. And then obviously he enrolls, and Jaden Woods kind of took that role there as far as the player that kind of most excited as far as what he brings from that perspective. But yeah, I mean, now you got Chaz Coleman in there. Should be really excited. And as I said, I mean, Kemmeju's had a really good year. Like, just kind of watch his film and speaking to people in Maryland, people are really excited about the steps he was able to take this year. And Adarica's had good stats. I'm not going to pretend I have a ton of connects down in Miami Central to really know how he progressed this year. That's something we'll have to learn more about. But it's coming along, right? I mean, what are they at, 26 now? And there's certainly still plenty of players they want to flip. They're going to work hard on Finney and Olish and a couple guys down the stretch here. We'll see where things go. But I think this class could still add another 2-3 players. I'd be surprised if it got to 30, but I wouldn't be shocked. 28 wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. And one last bullet point I want to put here on terms of the rankings and the opinion of Chaz Coleman here. He ranks higher in the On3 rankings, our internal rankings, than Jaden Woods. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive. The size to me is important as well, where you now have kind of a balance of Jaden Woods is athletic. He's kind of in that Chop Robinson and even Abdul Carter sort of size range. And now you've got a guy who's big and physical. And the thing I'm excited about is he's as athletic as those other guys. So again, just kind of repeating myself, I want fans to understand that, this is a very exciting commitment for the Nittany Lions. Any final thoughts about what they can read more about with Coleman over at bluewhiteillustrated.com? And as always, you can subscribe right now. Use 2 months for $1 with promo code PSU1 to get in on this information and behind the scenes. Ryan, what can fans go read about this new commitment over at bluewhiteillustrated.com?
Yeah, go check out the interview with Coach Matt Richardson out of Harding. I thought he was really informative, really was able to kind of paint the picture on why a player like Chaz Coleman took so long to gain all these offers, gain this notoriety. I think that's pretty informative. Fans can check that out on the site now. And by the way, we're talking about On3 rankings. He's now the 5th ranked player in this class when we're sorting it by just On3's rankings. So I mean, that's the kind of player we're talking about. Lyric Samuel, Jabri Wallace Coleman, Malachi Goodman, Alex Tash are the 4 ahead of him. So we'll see where 24/7 and rivals rate him. I'd be shocked if they didn't move him up to some degree, and he to be a 4-star in the industry rankings, which is what impacts the team rankings, all that. He just has to make top 400. So I mean, if you just look at the drastic difference in these rankings, all they got to move him up is they have him as the 64th best athlete at the moment. You get him up into even the 30s, I'm pretty sure he'll top that top 400 range. So I won't be shocked if he's a 4-star when it's all said and done.
And he's listed as an athlete. So once that position clarity happens, there's an opportunity for all those things to kind of fall into place.
Right.
That is going to do it here for now with Chaz Coleman. And as always, if you're watching this video, if you've made it 12 minutes in, subscribe to Blue White Illustrated here on the YouTube channel. I understand we're in the final month of the Penn State football season and things are getting a little sleepy. We're recording this during the beginning of Purdue week. It's not over. You need to stay locked in with us because we are less than a month out from the National Signing Day on December 4th. So stay with us, subscribe so that all the news, when it breaks, you get it here from Blue White.
Don't remind me of the transfer portal.
Oh, it's coming. All right, we'll be back later.